Hello, world. Welcome to another podcast of It's Not You, It's Autoimmune, with your hosts, Dr. Jocelyn Eberstein and Anna Strong. Dr. Jocelyn Eberstein has over 25 years of experience as a doctor of Oriental medicine, acupuncturist, and functional medicine practitioner. And Anna Strong, diagnosed with scleroderma in 2016, a comedian and producer, is the founder of the Strong and Golden Foundation. Together, they are stronger and wiser. You got this, America, where good health is just a podcast away.
Hello, 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 America, and our loyal listeners in other countries, and a warm welcome to our first-time listeners. Welcome to our podcast, It's Not You, It's Autoimmune, your 45-minute timeout to be informed, inspired, entertained, and empowered. Hi, I'm Dr. Jocelyn Eberstein. I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine, a functional medicine practitioner, and an acupuncturist. And I opened up the eCenter in 1990, a wellness center in Los Angeles. And I'm here to empower you to be truly healthy, truly empowered to get healthy and stay healthy and really live a robust and vibrant life. Anna, my guest, Anna Strong, is here today.
Hi, I'm Anna Strong. I'm a writer, a producer, a comedian, and the founder of Strong and Golden Foundation. And I'm on a mission to help you get the information you need about alternative solutions, about prevention, and even about reversing autoimmune disease. Together, we're stronger and wiser. You got this, America. Good health is just a podcast away.
So today's episode is entitled To Know Corona or Not to Know Corona? That is the question. And the reason this is an important topic is because we as a country are scared. We're frightened. We don't know what to do, and we're confused. We're confused by what? By the media. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what news is true, what's fake news, and it's just hard to know. So we're here today to give you some real answers to your questions and all your questions. We really want to pull back the curtain. We'd like you to be sure to call in so you can get the real information and the most up-to-date information. And I'm so excited to have our guest today, Dr. Cynthia Watson. She's a premier integrative medicine practitioner. She's a doctor, she's a medical doctor, and a premier COVID testing company, Ray Biotech. We're here they will shed some light on this really important topic and all the topics you need to know about. We really need to know what's going on, and we really don't know what to do because all that the media and our government is telling us is they're offering up what I call the stay away plan. You stay away from me, I'll stay away from you, keep your hands clean, be sure to wash, and let's pray for the vaccine gods. Well, the vaccine gods aren't coming for 12 to 18 months. What are we supposed to do in the meantime? I'm here to give you some answers because I'm going to give you information on how to keep yourself from getting the virus. We're going to be discussing the immune system and how and explaining to you the Viral Buster Blueprint, okay? And that's going to give you enough tools so that you feel safe in this scary, scary environment. Now, Anna, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the world is going crazy. It's because of the crazy people. We have a lot of crazy people in this country. And then we force them to live with each other, with their loved ones and their family. It was fun at first, but yeah, it's not. It's not. Nobody loves each other that much, And basically, we do it because we don't want to die. But if we die and we go to heaven, then we get stuck in eternity with our family. So I wonder if they have toilet paper. Remember when the aliens were coming and they were supposed to want our gold? Well, it turns out they want toilet paper. Yes, we're a bunch of crazy people. We're all crazy. Quarantine is getting to me. I don't know about you, but I don't know. Things are going to get better. Right now, I try to focus on the positive. The mask is making me look 10 years younger. I want to go to Costco. I'm not even a member. What the hell?
Sweet. So today we have with us our guest and health expert, Dr. Cynthia Watson, and she's been seen on national television. She incorporates conventional medicine with integrative medicine. So what's integrative medicine, everybody asks? Integrative medicine is basically science-based natural health healing, all right? So we are incorporating Western medicine, conventional medicine with natural healing approaches. It is the medicine of the 21st century. And we're privileged to have her on our show to discuss the ins and outs of this COVID epidemic or pandemic. Cynthia, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you coming on the show.
Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you for coming on our show. I know it's really hard because you're on the front line. You go from the front line to the quarantine to the front line. I mean, how is it for you?
I think it's been challenging, to say the least. I have a very big practice, primary care, so when patients get worried or get sick, I'm the one they call. When it says call your doctor, I'm the one they call. So I'm, basically kind of trying to triage, review symptoms, see who needs to be treated, see who needs to be tested, do all of those things. Luckily, I do have kits. I have testing ability, so I have that at least. I'm able to test.
So we so appreciate, many doctors are not even seeing patients, and we really appreciate that you actually are taking patients. So I'd like to ask a few questions just so everybody can be on the same level playing field, because there's a lot of words being thrown out there in the media. So just exactly what is a virus and how do they really work?
Well, a virus is a very small microscopic structure. It's very simple. It's basically a capsule, and then inside is DNA or RNA. So, and it really doesn't live outside the body for very long. It's not really a live organism in that it really doesn't survive without a host, which is us. And we have many viruses that live in our body that don't bother us. But this particular virus, as we know, can be much more dangerous. In some people, it can be very mild and cause minimal symptoms and sometimes no symptoms. And in other patients, it can be virulent and very, very dangerous.
So let me get this straight. So it's kind of like a carjacking. Like the cell is carjacked by the virus, and then it tells the driver, hey, I'm going to take over, and you're going to do what I want. And then it does this for a while, until so many viruses are produced that the cell explodes and eventually dies. And then all these baby viruses come out, and then they replicate. And then they do the same thing in other cells. Is that how it works?
Right. So the virus has the recipe inside it to make itself, basically. And once it gets into the receptor of the cell, so this actually virus enters through a receptor called ACE receptor. And that once it gets into the cell, it takes over the manufacturing production of the cell. It takes over and it causes the cell to make like its own DNA, RNA. In this case, it's an RNA virus. So yes, what happens is the cell is taken over by the virus, and the virus starts to put together all the different particles that it needs, its own RNA, the enzymes, and then the capsule around it. And then it releases the virus into the bloodstream, and it goes on and infects other cells.
So what I hear everybody hoping and praying for is this vaccine, and the lead time's really far away. How do vaccines work? And they're supposed to make you immune to a virus, right? But then there's this second epidemic coming through that's supposed to happen in the fall. So say you're immune from a vaccine, you get immunity from a vaccine, and then there's immunity if you actually get the virus. So how does this all factor in? Like in the fall, is that vaccine going to work the same way if we had it today? Is that vaccine going to work the same way?
Yeah, I hear even that some people are getting the virus and then getting it again, that they don't even develop immunity. Why is that?
So we have a lot. I think we have more questions than answers at this point. There's a lot of questions. When you get an infection, when you get a virus like this, our immune system takes over. We make something called an antibody. We make something called IgM and IgG. It's the same thing we make when we get a strep infection, when we get hepatitis, even with HIV, with all these things. You make an antibody that is your body's own protection. So what happens when you get a vaccine is you get a portion of, they take a piece of the active virus, and it causes your immune system to make this antibody. So in people that have had the infection, they will make an antibody. This is the new line of testing that we're able to do now. There's two kinds of tests. There's this nasal swab, right, where you put a swab up into the nose, and you're actually detecting live viral particles. That's looking for a live active infection. Then the antibody test is a blood test. It can be either done with a blood spot or like a peripheral blood draw. And that test is measuring the presence of antibodies.
I hate
now,
to
we don't really
you.
know exactly what these antibodies mean at this point.
I'm sorry. Our phones are lighting up. We got so many people trying to get in right now. Can you take one of our callers?
Absolutely.
This is Anna. Caller, are you there? Hello. Hello. Hello, caller.
Yeah.
Hi.
This is Francis.
Who is this? Who is this?
Francis.
Francis.
And
okay.
I'm from Ghana.
And you're from where?
Correct. And I'm from Ghana, and I took chloroquine as a kid, and now I understand it's a miracle drug. Is this true, and is it working?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, the latest research that came out of Europe, initially we thought the hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine was going to be effective. It doesn't look like it's as effective as we thought it was going to be, and they are looking at other treatments. I know of several cases in the hospital here in Santa Monica where they started treating with the hydroxychloroquine and it didn't work. So I wish I could say that was going to be like a panacea. There are some anecdotal reports, like the people saying that it helped them. Maybe it may help in the milder cases, but in the real severe hospitalized patients, it doesn't seem to be as effective.
So, Dr. Watson, isn't chloroquine made of zinc? Like the vitamin zinc, isn't that a component? Isn't it like modified zinc?
Chloroquine is actually from cinchona bark.
Oh.
It's the cinchona is the original zinc. Zinc actually works synergistically with the chloroquine to work on the cell, to get it into the cell.
Would you would you recommend him to keep doing it?
Cinchona bark.
Would you recommend for our caller to keep Frederick? Are you taking it now? Hello,
Francis.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you taking the chloroquine now?
No. It's very scarce now. Everybody's hoarding them and stuff, and but it's very scarce. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't find them.
Would you recommend people, even though it's not, really effective like you thought? Would you recommend it?
So here's the thing about chloroquine.
Yeah,
it's very toxic.
I certainly will. I took it once a week as a child. To prevent malaria.
For malaria.
And it worked very well.
Okay.
And so I was kind of surprised that it was recommended to be used for COVID-19. And the relationship to that, I can't fathom.
Well, thank you very much, caller. I appreciate it. It's nice to have you part of our community. I hope that answers your question.
If I could say a word about the chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, because you're talking about autoimmune disease here as well, and hydroxychloroquine is a mainstream treatment for autoimmune disease, for rheumatoid arthritis, for lupus. It's a mainstream treatment. It's very toxic and has a lot of side effects, so it's really not to be taken long term without medical supervision.
I've actually taken it before, and I don't do prescriptions, but I did try this, and within 4 days, I had a bad reaction. I just stopped.
Yeah, you have to really be careful with it.
Dr. Watson,
Yes.
can viruses cause autoimmune disease?
I don't know if we really know the answer to that. Basically, autoimmune disease is when your body makes an antibody to something that looks like itself. Mm-hmm. And we do believe certain bacteria can cause autoimmune disease. Certainly gluten. I mean, I know you've talked about that. Gluten can be, making those antibodies can lead to autoimmune disease. But okay. It's very possible that viruses, but I don't know specifically of any specific virus that we know can say for sure that it causes autoimmune disease.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take another caller. We've got a lineup here, so we got to take our callers. Who's on the line this time? And give me a break this time. This is my first time. Okay, I'm running the phones. It's not going to be pretty. Okay, what's your name? I'm probably not going to remember. Go ahead. What's your name? Hello.
It's Monica from Kentucky.
Monica from Kentucky. Welcome to our shows. What kind of question do you have for Dr. Cynthia?
So I'm wondering how often and what type of test should I get?
Well, have you been sick? First question.
Been having just chills and a slight cough. But no fever.
Initially, I mean, we should be testing everyone. That's, I don't know what's happening in your state. I know initially in the last few weeks, in the beginning of when there was limited tests, basically I was told by the health department, don't test anyone unless they are in the high risk category, 65 or older, and they have symptoms like fever and a dry cough.
Because of the shortage of tests?
Because of a shortage of tests.
Yeah.
Now, the test can be difficult to do. And the test is, and it's also it's only like 60 to 80% positive because it depends on how the test is done. If they really have to stick that thing up in your nose, and if it's not uncomfortable, they didn't do it right. And then it also depends on how many viral particles you're secreting, because it's picking up the number of viral particles. So you could have a test that would be negative if you're not producing enough virus.
And those tests, I mean, unless you're in a really active phase of shedding, it will not be detective. So I don't remember the rate of false negatives on.
About 60. It's about 60.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really mean anything. Honestly.
And I can say in my practice, I've tested a number of people and I've only had one positive. So everybody I tested, I went and I did the test myself. I didn't hand them the swab. I stuck it up their nose. I know I did the same technique on everyone. So I know if I had one positive, at least it would be valid, but everybody, they've tested negative. The other thing is we're not sure if this virus mutates. Like the flu virus, the reason we have to get a different flu vaccine every year is because every year the flu changes itself, so the old vaccine doesn't work. So we don't know about this virus. It might mutate like the flu vaccine, and it may change, and that's why there may be different forms of it that might show up.
All right, Monica, does that answer your question? Monica?
I think so. Is it uncomfortable? Is that swab pretty uncomfortable?
Yes.
When they do it?
Yes, she said.
I will see people go.
Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable.
If they don't do that, I'm not doing it right.
Sorry. Thanks, Monica from Kentucky.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
So I have a question, Cynthia. So what is your opinion about this 14-day quarantine? Oh, you've tested positive for corona. We're just going to put you away for 14 days, and then you're free to go. Do you agree with that?
Well, what they say is the virus has a peak. In the first 3 to 5 days, the peak number of shedding increases. And after 7 days, then the amount of shedding decreases. So that when you get to that 14-day point, you're not shedding virus. That's what they believe, is that you're not shedding virus anymore.
So does that mean you're not contagious?
I think if someone's positive, we should be testing them again at the end of that 14-day period. I mean, that would seem to be a rational thing to do. But we're not.
We're not doing rational. No.
Do you test yourself?
Have I tested myself? I did the antibody test. I've not been sick, so I'm not. And I did the antibody test. I'm negative.
So how often would you do the antibody test, given that you're in front of people all day long?
Well, we have PPE. We are protected. We have masks. We have gloves. I have everything. I have masks, gowns, gloves. Myself and my staff, we're extremely careful. We clean this place every hour. We clean everything.
Everybody's washing their
tables,
hands
and we also, if someone's
over.
really sick, we're no longer letting them come in. If someone's really like a high risk person, I'm meeting them actually in the garage and doing the test there.
Wow.
Because I have to protect my staff. Plus, we're only allowing one person in the office at a time.
Excellent. What else did I? So I understand that they're opening up the country right now. What are your feelings about that? And I'm personally kind of scared.
I think it's too early. I think we put this kind of time in where we've spent all this time with our family, and I mean, we're all sick of it. Trust me. People found out they can work from home or they can't work from home. But you got to stay in, because if we get out too early, we're going to have to do this all over again.
So how do we help ourselves, given that everybody's going to go rampant out there?
Well, I think it sounds kind of cliche, but wear a mask, wear gloves, and wash your hands. The hand washing thing is really pretty effective, because this virus actually breaks down with soap and water.
That sounds like a no-brainer, right?
And so the protocols that are recommended is, if you're out, when you come back into the house, the first thing you do is take off your gloves, wash your hands, don't touch anything. Don't touch your hands and face. It's getting the virus is going to depend on a couple of things. It's going to depend on how strong your immune system is, we think. People that are getting really sick seem to have other issues like heart disease, diabetes. They maybe are not as healthy. So staying really healthy is important. And I think you were going to talk a little bit about diet and, maintaining a healthy diet, reducing sugar, reducing alcohol, maintaining good sleep habits, all of those things in terms of keeping your immune system strong. And then just basic things like wash your hands, don't touch your mouth and nose unless your hands are clean.
Well, we in this country we have short attention span theater, so I hope everybody keeps to remember to do that.
Repeat.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Cynthia, thank you so much. This was amazing information for our guests, and you took the time and from your practice, which I know is really hard. I really appreciate you coming on.
I know my staff put a little do not disturb recording. You
need a red light,
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't wait to have you back.
Everybody stay safe out there.
All right.
Okay.
So now that we know how a virus works, we can look at a plan to keep us safe from the virus, including staying away plan. So how do we deal with a virus if it ever enters our body? So what we're introducing today is the Viral Buster Master Plan. It's a simple four-step plan. So basically block the virus from a hostile takeover of your body, right? So we can attack the virus directly, meaning I can take an antiviral herb, I can take an antiviral medication, or you build good fences, meaning we build up good barrier systems in our bodies, okay, in your tissues. So say somebody sneezes or coughs on you and the particles get into your nose, they get into your throat, they get into your lungs. That does not mean that the virus has to penetrate. So if you keep your barriers up, that's not going to happen. So block the virus. Step 2, we're going to stop the virus from making babies in our body. Say the virus gets in. All right. And step 3, we're going to boost your immune system response, meaning we're going to go out, destroy the virus, but not destroy our tissue like our lungs. Okay. And step 4 is we're just going to power up your body so it has enough energy to mount an attack, so it can destroy the virus and clean up the battlefield, because there's a lot of debris. When you get sick, there's a lot of debris, the garbage. Okay, so you have to have the energy inside the cells to be able to get rid of that. So remember, you can overcome any adversity if you have a plan. All right. So stay tuned. We'll be giving you the easy action steps to carry out this scientifically researched plan. And speaking of plans, our next topic that we're going to discuss is testing. All right. We all know that knowledge is power, and if we know what to do by testing, we can do something about it. Introducing our guest is Dr. Valerie Jones from Ray Biotech, a science technology company. They are a world premier developer of innovative lab testing. And since day one, their game is antibodies. Okay, so they know what they're doing. They're high sensitivity tests. And recently they've come out with the test for COVID, the rapid test, and that's the one I use in my office. So Valerie has a PhD in biochemistry, which means she is a rocket scientist. So she's really smart, and she's here to clarify some really confusing information that you hear in the media. Thank you, Valerie, for taking time out from your day from Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Hello, Valerie.
Yep.
I just realized.
Exactly.
I just
Good to be
realized
here.
we're all
Thank you,
great,
Jocelyn.
Yeah.
fabulous women on this program today.
I'm so excited to have you here. And really, honestly, I'm thanking Ray Biotech for letting you take the time. So I have some basic questions, again, because in the media and people are hearing all these terms they're hearing. Number one, what are the different kinds of tests that are available, and exactly what is an antibody? Could you kind of explain that? Cynthia touched on it for a little bit, but can you explain that for us?
Yeah, no problem. So for the COVID virus, there's a couple of different types of tests that are available. One is a molecular test, and the other is called a serology test, right? So the molecular test is going to be the type of test that actually detects the virus particle in your body at that moment. Whereas the serology test is actually, serology comes from the word serum. So you're actually detecting your body's response to the virus in your blood serum. Okay, so specifically, you're looking for antibodies to the virus. So that kind of brings up a good point, is like, what is an antibody? So an antibody is basically a protein molecule that is circulating around in your blood that helps protect you from foreign invaders. So it's so basically what it does is it will target the foreign invader for destruction by alerting your immune system. Okay, so it's kind of like a sensor tag in a department store. So, for example, if you have a sensor tag, you get too close to this sensor, it'll alert the authorities, right? And they come get you and take you away. Well, it's kind of the same thing with your immune system, right? So the antibody will actually tag that particle for destruction, that destruction being carried out by your white blood cells. Okay, the white blood cells are the authority. So that's the kind of oversimplified version of how antibodies work to protect you.
We like simple. We really do.
That's why she likes me.
And can you explain? So the different kinds of tests are the blood test, something with blood, and then the second one, they call it PCR, correct? That's the nasal one. And when would you use each of those tests? Like, when would be the appropriate time to actually use one or the other?
Okay, so what we advise, and the most logical way to do it, is if you need a test, we would say start out with the serology test, okay? Because the serology tests that are available,
you mean the blood tests, right? Like
rapid and quick and easy to do. Mm-hmm. And really what they're designed and intended for is screening large numbers of people, okay, in a short period of time. And it only takes about 5 minutes. And so in that time, you can actually test lots of people, all right? And so you're basically doing a screen. And what you want to do then is, based on the results of that screen, you're going to take all of your positive people, and those people who test positive in the screen will then be candidates for the PCR test, i.e. the molecular test. So that's going to say, okay, that person has an antibody to the virus. Do they actually have the virus? In other words, could they have an active infection going on? You want to know that for sure. So the PCR test, because it's a little bit more complex, it takes longer. That is going to be the second stage of testing. So we recommend starting with the serology test, go to the PCR test next. And then if you're actually symptomatic, and you're positive for PCR, then you may need a clinical workup. So you will need a doctor's full clinical evaluation, maybe chest x-ray and some other different parameters like that. And then you will, all of that data put together, then you'll have a much better idea, are you really infected or not?
All right. That's
Oh.
so much information. That's
That's
so
a
good.
lot.
We have a caller right now. So would you like to take a call?
Sure, no
All
problem.
right. There you go. Who's on the line here? Hello.
Hi, my name is Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Freddie. I'm calling from Oklahoma. I'm just wondering, in
Freddie.
regarding to testing, how important is it for younger people to get tested? Like, I live with my parents, or I visit my parents every weekend, and I also work. I'm considered an essential worker. How important is it to get regular tested for younger people? If you don't show symptoms, like suppose you could be like asymptomatic.
Right. So regardless of your age, it is a good idea to get a test. Okay. If you are in contact with somebody that you believe is infected, or if you've traveled to an area that is considered high risk, then yes, it is prudent to get a test. Because being young, as we know, it doesn't necessarily protect you. But yes, and if you're going to be in contact with someone who's vulnerable, an older parent or a grandparent or something like that, then yes, try and seek out a test if you can, particularly if it will give you peace of mind.
So, Dr. Jones, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on in Georgia, and they're opening up the country there, rapidly opening up the country. How do you feel about that, given what's going on right now?
You mean with opening up rapid testing centers and
just we're letting people out, letting people
Yeah. Like if they jump on a plane and try to come to California, especially, Georgia doing their own
we were
thing,
a little
but
blindsided by that. Not going to lie. So it's we were just so used to staying in, being safe, and kind of going with the same pace as the rest of the nation. But we're gonna try to be as prudent as possible and reemerge slowly, just like everybody else is going to do.
Could you explain, because everybody's watching the media and they're talking like as if everybody understands this: false positive, false negative, sensitivity, specificity. Could you explain those terms just so like people can get it when these terms are just thrown out at them?
Yeah, absolutely. So false positive and false negative. Okay, so it's kind of like the name would suggest. A false positive test is only going to be referring to that group of people who are getting a positive result from a test. Okay, so for example, if you're talking about the rapid COVID test that you want to get, so what they typically do is if you get a positive result by the serology test, then does that correlate to a positive result for real? All right. So the percentage of time where that matches up to you having a real COVID infection, that is called the true positive rate. Conversely, the false positive rate would be the number of times that it doesn't correlate. Okay. And so what you have to do is you have to have something to compare it to. So if you have the serology test and it's telling you yes, you've got to compare it to something else that's also going to tell you yes. Most of the time, that other thing you're comparing it to is the PCR test or the molecular test, but not always. Usually, most of the data that I've seen, you are comparing serology to PCR. PCR is considered the gold standard. Okay, so conversely, false negative rate would be talking about when you have a negative test outcome, does that correlate to a negative result on the PCR test? Okay. So if that correlates all the time, that is 100% true negative, right?
Right. So that means that the blood test, be it a blood stick test or a finger stick test, has to match the nasal swab test. Is that right? Okay. So those two, in order to have a true result.
All right. Let's take one more call. Okay, we're going to take one more caller. Hello, welcome to It's Not You, It's Autoimmune. Hello.
Hello, it's Andrew.
It's Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Remember your name because I'm going to screw it up, okay?
Andrew DeMeo from Las Vegas, Nevada.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City. How's it going on out there? I mean, is the coronavirus, what's the numbers like?
Very low. I think we only had, not only, but I think we had about 160 deaths or something like that, but only 20,000 people got infected, which is kind of low for our city.
Okay,
we have
that's
about
pretty good,
2.5 million people here.
Well, welcome today, and I want you to give us your question.
So my question is, since we were just talking about testing with this doctor here, why wouldn't they put, we're talking about travel and going to different places, why wouldn't they put testing at the airports and or public transportation for people to test before either they get on flights or go through security? After 9/11, things happened where you had to take off your shoes, your belt, take your laptop out of your carry-on. Why not make it to where everybody gets tested prior to getting on either a flight, a bus ride, train, or however they take their trip in between states and so forth, or cities? I think that would be very, very good for everybody, because when you're on the plane, you would feel more safe. And if you do just a nose swab as you're going through security and they give you a quick test, and if you test positive or something's wrong, then you just basically turn around and go see your doctor in your city that you're in.
Well, Andrew, I think the nose swab takes a couple of days, the PCR test takes a couple of days to actually get it back. So the only thing that would be available was Ray Biotech's rapid finger stick test. And that would be really, their percent of false positives and false negatives are quite good and I would feel safe getting on an airplane if I knew that everybody was tested. And so I think that's a good marketing strategy, Dr. Jones, for Ray Biotech.
There's going to be an eventual need for a lot more widespread testing, and people are going to have to be tested multiple times. Now, whether or not it's going to be happening in airports, that would make your security time take a little bit longer. Because this test actually requires a finger prick. So.
Yeah, but the lines aren't as long. So, really, okay, Las Vegas, thank you.
But let's go back, 18 years. And how long were the lines in security back then? Now you have TSA pre, you have all these, global check-in or whatever. So what's the difference? You're just kind of turning back the clock, which is fine, but at least you give the people the sense of security to travel and to go to different places. Staying in, is it really ever going to really go away until we get a vaccine in 12 to 18 months? No, it's still going to be out there. It's already airborne, right? So,
well, the thing
these are just my questions. I live in a city where there's a lot of people where we depend on tourism. So these are the things that the people that I'm around think of, because they have to go to work down at the casinos and so forth. So that's my question.
So Andrew, we know some about the virus, but we don't know a lot about the virus, and the virus as it is now is going to change. Really, what we do know about is your physiology. We know that. That's hard science. We know how your body deals with foreign invaders. The best hope you can do is to keep yourself strong, which is why we're doing this viral plan, this master plan, because your only hope is host resistance, keeping your body strong so it can deal with no matter what the invader is and no matter how much it morphs. We don't care. Because we're never going to have a vaccine that's that's developed enough when it does morph. So, all right.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. We got to take another call, but thank you for calling in and keep listening, okay?
All right. I think we can't. I think we're going to.
We're going to take one more call.
Okay, one more call. All right. Thank you.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Hello. This is Betty from Boston.
Betty from Boston. I like that. That's pretty cool.
We are right in the middle of the surge in Boston, and I am an older woman. I am in my 80s, and you talk about keeping bodies strong. And we know that the immune system weakens as you get older. What can I do to make my body strong so that I can resist the virus as it is present today and in the future as it's going to reappear?
So, Betty from Boston, thank you for your question. I'm going to answer that because the next part of our talk today is we're going to start into the master viral plan. And I'm going to give you 6 steps to really just get started gently, easy on making sure that your body is strong and can resist a takeover of a virus. Okay?
Excellent.
So Valerie, I want to thank you so much.
Valerie, thank you.
You were so amazing, especially since you're a rocket scientist. You're a rocket scientist, and you made us understand. I'm so happy. Thank you.
It's Smart Woman Day.
Yeah. Ladies. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. It's not you, it's autoimmune.
Thank you.
So now that we know how a virus works, and now we know who's at risk by testing, here's the 6 easy things anybody can do at home. So first is easy. Take a multivitamin, not from your local drugstore. Get a professional one, okay? What you want to think of is total body health. Have everything available so your body can attack a virus. Secondly, okay, eat more protein. Get adequate protein. Why? Because you're going to build good fences. You're going to keep the barrier systems in your nose, in your mouth, in your lungs. You're going to keep them strong so the virus can't penetrate even if it gets on you, all right? Third thing, avoid, and you're going to hate me for this, but avoid high carbohydrate foods. Everybody hates me for this one. Avoid those and sugar, including too much fruit and fruit juices, because I want you to think this. When you eat the sugar, think about your immune system getting paralyzed for the next 4 to 5 hours in this COVID epidemic. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So really back down on the sugar. Take your vitamin D. That's a no-brainer. Everybody knows you get flus in the middle of winter. There's no sunlight, no vitamin D. Okay.
So I take a lot of vitamin D along with calcium.
That's
excellent. And then take zinc, but only take it if you're taking a multivitamin because it can suppress your immune system if you don't have enough of the copper.
So with zinc, what about Zicam, which is a well-known?
Yes, it does not have enough zinc. That is a homeopathic form of zinc. We want actual zinc in your body because what zinc does is it stops the inflammation and reduces the viral replication. So you really need real zinc, okay, to build those barriers.
So real zinc, and what kind of milligram? What kind of?
Generally, we recommend generally 30 to 60 milligrams is a general recommendation. Make sure you have that multivitamin on board because you need the copper. Otherwise, you're going to suppress the immune system. So that's important. And then the last thing.
So in a multivitamin that I have been taking for years, and it's like not every day. It's over the counter. It's Centrum. That's a well-known one, but you're talking about a multivitamin from where?
From something that's a higher, more professional grade. So you can go to some of your better health food stores. They may have them. Some pharmacies, a lot of pharmacies are carrying really professional medical level vitamins and supplements.
Now, Betty, okay, do you have a functional medicine person in your area? Do you know of? Because that's what Jocelyn is.
I have never gone to a functional medicine doctor, but I hear that they have very good things to offer.
That's what I would recommend. That's what Jocelyn is, and or integrative medicine, right? You say it different than I do.
Yes, I do. But can I go to step 6 now? Step 6, after zinc, we need vitamin A. Why? Because vitamin A is specifically to build the barriers in your lungs, okay? Prevents the virus from getting into your lungs. So vitamin A is critical.
Great.
Critical. So what I want everybody to do for the next couple of weeks is I want you to and I'm going to post this list on the web page, which is It's Not You Autoimmune. It's Not You Autoimmune.com.
Okay, Not You Autoimmune. I got it.
I'm going to post this up on the
.com. I'll be looking for that. I'll be looking for your list.
And you can email us there too, Betty.
Yeah. So pick the 3 easiest things that are on the list.
Great.
Do them for the next 2 weeks, and then I want you to stay tuned for the next episode of Dazed and Confused. Tell me what the heck to eat. And I want to take a deeper dive into the Viral Buster food plan. So we're going to have our guest, Lisa Thompson, a nutritional expert, and she's going to help us understand why this food plan is and what the food plan is and the science behind it, okay? And she'll give us great tips on how to incorporate it into your diet. So,
Excellent.
So I want everybody to please Facebook me. Don't be afraid.
I'm anxious here.
Yeah, I want to know how you're doing with these recommendations and how you're feeling. So
Okay.
please reach out. And I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Betty. Bye-bye. She was sweet.
She
I
was
loved
adorable.
her.
You are
Oh my gosh, you're still on the phone.
Everybody who has participated, you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, listeners and callers especially, and you guys are amazing. We're so glad to have you on our little online family, and please go to our website. It's, like Jocelyn said, it's not you, it's autoimmune. So it's not you, autoimmune.com.
And I want
and
we want to thank our guests,
thank our sponsors,
our guests,
and our guests,
Dr. Cynthia Watson and Dr. Valerie Jones from Ray Biotech. Okay, we want our sponsors. We have 2 sponsors today. We have Tesseract and the E-Center Wellness. A special thanks to Al Zapp, who has offered us a generous 20% off on his products. And you can find that on the website. Okay, today we're featuring quercetin, which is a very important supplement for your for the COVID. Why? Because it puts out inflammation and keeps the virus from making babies in your system, virus babies. And I don't want, the most important thing is, I don't want people to waste their money on supplements that don't work. So this particular supplement, and why I stand behind it, is because it gets directly absorbed into the cell. So I am completely a fan. Please contact us, look for us on the website. And I want to thank the E-Center, our sponsor, a nationally recognized institute for cutting-edge health and making patients partners in their own healing. Anna?
Yeah, well, basically, I don't want you to forget about the sponsor, Strong and Golden Foundation. Go to our website. It'll be right there. Check it out. Become a member. Put in a donation. We're doing great things over there. You can also check out my documentary called Crest, Not the Toothpaste, which we're currently filming, and it's attached to a website with all kinds of information on health, your mind, body, soul, the stem cells even. I've even done stem cells. We're doing everything. We're trying to kick this thing. It was great.
So join us again for our next episode, Dazed and Confused. Please tell me what the heck to eat. And by the way, if anybody has any questions, how to locate these supplements, where do I find good supplements, just go to our webpage, It's Not You Autoimmune, click on the E-Center. I'm happy to, or Facebook us, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Stay safe.
Subscribe to that YouTube channel. See you next time, because it's not you, it's autoimmune.